Okay, so welcome to making profitable websites faster and easier than you ever thought possible. And if that's the webinar you signed up for, you are in the right place. If not, then stick around. You'll hopefully learn something. So let's get it going. So who's this guy? That's me. This is a bit of an old picture. I've gained a bit of weight, as you can see right here. My name is Neil McSpadden. I am the founder of Semantic Keyword Research. And I have been doing SEO since 2007, 2008. If you don't know me, my story is kind of, I want to say kind of typical, actually. I went to college way back in the dark ages. I got a degree in engineering, and I interned with AMD. They are Intel's competitor, if you're not familiar with the processing manufacturing world. So I did the 6-month internship during my senior year, or right before my senior year, actually. And I came to a conclusion that the corporate world was just not what I wanted to do. And I can actually pinpoint the exact moment that it happened. Roundabout in, I want to say May of 2000, which is when I was doing my internship, I attended a corporate award ceremony. So basically, they got everybody together in a big auditorium, and they said, "Oh, Joe Smith from this team, he got 13 patents last year. Let's all give him a hand." We clap. He gets a plaque, and everybody's happy for him. And this goes on for a while. Then the last person they called up was um, it was an engineer, and we'd gone through a big launch during the time I was there. That was when the first gigahertz computer chip was released, and AMD beat Intel to the punch, and our stock went up 200%. And it was a big deal in the company. So they call up, I forget his name, but let's call him Mark. So they call up Mark and they say, you know, Mark had scheduled to, go to Europe with his family for 10 days, and he canceled all that, and so we could work, and so we could get this product out to market. Isn't he a great guy? And everybody's clapping. And I realized that this was not the kind of life I wanted to live. So I wanted more of a, work-life balance rather than, sacrificing my family just to work more. And at that point, I realized I was going in the wrong direction, and I started casting about for alternatives. I did lots of stuff. I was a bartender. I managed a bar. That's a horrible job. Don't ever do that. Um, I tutored high school kids for a long time. Really enjoyed that, but didn't pay anything. And then in 2007, I was completely broke. I had just broken up with my long-term girlfriend, and I had like negative dollars in the bank account. So I did have a job, so I was able to, eat and everything, but I realized what I had been doing, getting a job and trying to earn money that way was really not what I wanted to do and not the best path. So I actually stumbled into building or buying and building websites. A buddy of mine in Ohio, he created sites, got them registered with a blog advertising network, and then companies would, pay this network, however much, $5, $10 to have their links posted on these all these various websites. And I bought 3 or 4 of those sites from my friend, and that was the beginning of my SEO career. So today, I look back on it and I realize, oh, I was in a private blog network, essentially. It was a distributed blog network, which is kind of interesting. The company's still around. It's called Blogsertise, and one of my buddies in a mastermind group actually bought the company last year. So they're making a resurgence. So anyway, over the years from '07 to now, I've been learning and growing, and the the bottom line is that, building or buying your own websites is a great way to develop passive income. And, I went from 0 to 6 figures, and, you can too. And a big way of how you can do that quickly and easily, at least by comparison, is through this little graphic right here, a semantically integrated silo website, and we will go over just what all that means. So let's go ahead and jump in. So what is this call about? Fundamentally, it's about money. We want to make more, keep more. Keeping my money is an issue that I have, but that's that's a separate call. Um, and in the old days, I say old, in quotation marks, let's say 3, 4 years ago, people used to build very simple niche websites, either one-page sites, five-page sites. Five-page was a big deal because it's like, oh, it's more than one article. Um, then a couple 2012, I think, Google started updating things, and people started saying, oh, SEO is dead, niche sites are dead, and now you have to build 1,000-page authority sites in order to make any money or rank anything. And then you know, we're going to get into a little bit about the future and the semantic web and the future of search. So before the simple niche site pages, this is actually one of my sites that I have from a long time ago. So these were just super simple websites. They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 articles on them targeting a specific keyword, and for a long time they worked. The money they would make would depend on how much traffic they got and how much that particular market keyword was worth to advertisers. And fast forward to the present, we have these guys. We have the panda and the penguin. And so these are two of the named updates that Google has rolled out over the last several years. And right now we're up to Panda 4, I think, and Penguin 3, something like that. I don't know, they're always updating these things. And basically what these updates have done is to try to weed out all of the crappy niche sites that people were building and making money through Google with. Um, Google wanted to, I guess, upgrade their quality of results and for their advertisers. So you couldn't just build one site, spam it with 1,000 exact match links and then rank. It just doesn't work anymore. You'll get yourself penalized through one of these filter penalties. Similarly, you can't just keyword stuff an article with the same keyword over and over and over again throughout the website. Again, you'll get automatically filtered out by Google. So what people have said in response to this is SEO is dead. Niche sites are dead. You got to build these giant authority sites. The problem there is that let's say you decide to build an authority site and you build content, hundreds of pages, thousands of pages, spending thousands of dollars, and then it just doesn't work. Either people aren't that interested in that particular angle on the topic, or they, they just, sometimes sites just don't rank, and it's not an exact science. There's still a lot of art in the development. So that's what people are saying, and of course the majority is always wrong. So that is that's one of my favorite Earl Nightingale things. If you don't have a mentor, just look at what everybody else is doing and do the opposite, because the majority of people are not successful. And on the internet, it's probably instead of 9 out of 10 businesses failing, it's probably 99.9 blogs out of 1,000 or out of 100 failing. So we want to do things that are different. And that's going to get us into the future. So the semantic web and the future of search. I just want to read this blurb from, if you Google semantic search, then this is the first thing that pops up on Google. It says, semantic search seeks to improve search accuracy by understanding searcher intent and the contextual meaning of terms as they appear in the searchable database, whether on the web or within a closed system, to generate more relevant results. That sounds pretty fancy. Basically, what they're doing is they are trying to understand what people are looking for and what things are related to that. And if you have any experience in the web development or SEO world, you know that when you do a Google search, at the bottom of the page, it'll have like 10 or 8 um, related searches that people are looking for. And that's kind of the beginning of what Google is trying to do as far as understanding this. The problem, though, is that they're not very good at it. So we're still a little ways off as far as being able to really have good semantic search, but we're getting there. And with the schema markups that are starting to be implemented throughout the web, um, you know, it'll just be a matter of time before websites need to semantically integrate their content. And we're going to go over what that means for us. So the problem is the solution. One of my favorite quotes from Bill Mollison, actually. So the problem is that the tiny websites, the tiny niche sites, they don't work like they used to because of Panda and Penguin and the exact match update and the Hummingbird update and whatever else they decide to call things. But basically, Google is constantly upgrading their algorithms to weed out crappy content and sites that don't have very much to offer. The other end of the problem is that giant authority sites, although they do tend to work much better than the niche sites, they take too long, and they're too expensive to build based on speculation. Once you know you have a winner, go ahead and go to town and build out your authority site. A buddy of mine is big in the Amazon space, and he is developing a website with I don't know how many hundreds or thousands of pages, and he's going to be spending about $10,000 just on content, and that's great, but that's kind of a big risk for a lot of people to take. So the solution is don't do that. Pay attention to the problems and fix them. So uh, you can build or buy even a portfolio of sites, quickly and easily that are larger than niche sites, and if successful, can grow into authority sites. So basically what we want to do is build out a bunch of smaller sites, pick the winners, and expand on those. Make sense? Give me one if that makes sense. All right, one's coming in. Great. Okay, so how do we build a site with 10 times less work than our competitors? Well, we're going to do quick niche selection in 2 minutes flat. We're going to do semantic keyword research based on that niche. Then we do traditional keyword research. And we take our results from the keyword research, do some analysis and grouping, and then we create a semantic site architecture. And that's the grand result. Okay, so I just want to go into a little bit of the effects of semantic structure. So I took 3 or 4 of my websites that I had bought from others over the last little while, and all I did was I changed the site architecture. I didn't change the content, didn't add any links, didn't delete any links. All I did was basically change the URL structure into a semantically integrated structure. And these are some of the results that I took this past week. So this keyword, this is in the educational niche. It was ranking, I don't know, 70 something, and then had a brief flirtation here. Things got processed, and then went on up, and now we're ranking #1 for that term. That's one of my main site terms actually. And then this one is in the home accessories market. This one has not gone to #1 obviously, but went from nowhere into, I don't know, page 7 or 8 right now. And let's see, this one was in the medical niche or medical market, I guess. Just by changing the URLs into the kind that we're going to be talking about, got from page 2 up into page 1. And we got another one, another keyword. This went from basically nowhere up into page 3, I believe. And this is a log scale, so it's not quite even. Okay, so selecting a niche, how do we do that? People freak out about this, and the basic answer is that there's 2 ways. One is that you can already be an expert in something. I mean, everybody is an expert at something. So you can build a site based on that, and you already know what you need to know because you are the expert. And that's great. Problem is you kind of run out of expertise, as far as markets. So if you want to build a large portfolio, what we want to do is method 2, which is leverage billion-dollar companies' work. And my particular favorite is Amazon. So this is what I call the Amazon 2-minute cheat for niche selection. So the first thing is you go ahead and go to Amazon's bestseller list. And then you pick an evergreen market. Evergreen, for those who don't know, is something that people are always looking about. I heard one guy phrase it as get paid, get laid, or lose weight. So basically, those things are always of interest. I want to add into that hobbies. People love their hobbies. Something that's really hot right now is home brewing. Beer and wine kind of stuff. But there's always going to be people looking for information to help improve their lives in whatever it is that they're passionate about. So you go into one of those categories, you pick a subcategory, because when you go to Amazon, there's a whole list of things, and pick a bestseller. Pick a book that looks good, and that's it. I mean, it literally takes 2 minutes or less. So just a quick example, we'll show you. Let me bring over my my web browser here. Go to Amazon, and whoops, I should actually copy my URL here. Let's go. Just because from the front page, it's actually kind of hard to get to. Okay, so we've got books, we've got all these things. Rabbit Who Wants to Fall Asleep. I actually just ordered this book because I'm trying to get my daughter to sleep earlier. So let's go into, well, we were talking about food and wine, so let's look at that. Asian cooking, baking, beverages, and wine. There we go. So these are all bestsellers right now on Amazon. The Comic Story of Beers, Superfood Smoothies, Healthy Smoothie Bible, Wine Folly, Big Book of Juices, How to Brew Everything You Need to Know, Drunken Botanist, that's interesting. You Deserve a Drink. So all of these are in a best-selling category on Amazon. All of these are selling hundreds or thousands of copies a day. So we know that there's interest. And that's really the key to niche selection. Once we know that there's interest, we're good to go. So, just pick any of these that you might be interested in. I like this Plant Drunken Botanist. That sounds pretty interesting, actually. Maybe that's just me. The plants that create the world's great drinks. Okay. And we can see here, bestseller rank is number 3,000 on all of Amazon, at least in books. So that's selling at least 1,000 copies a day, probably. And, 5-star reviews. So, people are interested and people like it. So that's all we need to know. All right, so that's selecting a niche. And then we go into semantic keyword research. So what does that mean? It's semantic is one of those words that gets thrown around a lot, and people often either don't know what they're talking about or just kind of using the latest buzzword. What it means, according to the dictionary, is of, pertaining to, or arising from the different meanings of words or other symbols. Now, of course, we're using words because we can't search in symbols just yet. So basically, what we want to do is find relations between meanings of things rather than between language. So not relations between words. So, for example, what does the phrase 60 minutes have to do with news or interviews? Any guesses? The answer is nothing. The words 60 and minutes has nothing to do with the word news and the word interviews. So linguistically, they are not connected at all. But we know from our experience that the meaning of 60 Minutes is that it's a news show. They do a lot of interviews. They used to have Barbara Walters, who made her whole career out of doing, interviews with celebrities. So that's a semantic relation. It's a relation in meaning, not in words. And that's the key to the whole thing, understanding these different types of relationships. So how do we find those relationships that we can build our site around? Well, we can go back to Amazon, or we can do a top 10 search, or both. So if we go back to Amazon, let's pull up the Drunken Botanist again here. So let's go ahead and look inside. And let's go to the table of contents. Oops, too far. So part 1, we explore the twin alchemical processes of fermentation and distillation for how we get beer and wine, suffuse stuff with herbs and spices, and go into the garden. Okay. We've got all these different cocktails, syrups, prickly pear syrup, capillary syrup. I've got a prickly pear in my yard, actually. And then it goes on. Okay, so some of the things we might want to investigate are, these different kinds of cocktails, the plants that go into them, whatever it might be. So prickly pear, elderflower, I can't even pronounce some of these things, grenadine, limoncello. So that gives us kind of a starting point to look at as far as, what we're going to dive deeper into. And then the top 10 search, we already went live. So the top 10 search is, let's say we want to find out about, plants that go into cocktails. So there's a very simple kind of search that we can do. We say top 10, oops, if I can type, top 10 plants in cocktails. Okay, the bartender's garden, 10 easy to grow cocktail plants. There's that drunken botanist, top 10 cocktail trends. So we can look at each of these pages and start to get an idea of what it is that's, that's answering these kinds of questions. We've got spearmint, thyme, rosemary, lemon, verbena, cherry tomatoes. The bartender's garden is saying what? Apple, blueberry, cherry, grapes, kiwi. So let's say I was deciding to make a website about this. I might, include a page on each of these and how to use them in alcoholic drinks. And so we can do, a top 10 search. You can do best. You can do a different variation where we try to find a forum with people talking about this kind of stuff. So here's a forum discussion about all different kinds of mint. And so we got peppermint, grapefruit mint, chocolate mint, licorice mint, Korean mint. So, you could have a whole series of information on each one of these plants and how they're different and how they're the same and what kinds of drinks is better for each one. So, when we start to dive into these kinds of things, then we get just truckloads of content seeds that we can then, improve upon and expand upon. Okay, so we've selected a niche, we found some semantic relations, and then we go into, more traditional keyword research. And it's those first two steps that really separate your sites from everybody else's. What most people do is they jump straight to keyword research. So they say, okay, let's say I picked, the bartending or the cocktail thing. So I'm just going to do keyword research on, great cocktails or cocktail plants or something like that. And by skipping over the semantic relations, what happens is that everybody else is focusing on the same stuff. So it's very difficult to find low competition things because that's what everybody's doing. So by taking this extra step and finding the semantic relations, then we find areas that have little to no competition, which is great. So for keyword research, once we have discovered some semantic relations, we can use keyword tools to dive into each piece. So we're going to do that same kind of process that other people do, but we're going to do it on much different things. And so there are loads of tools that do this. If you do a Google search, Google has its own keyword planner, which a lot of tools are based on. But I personally prefer Longtail Pro Platinum, and I'm going to show you why. So this is what it looks like. This is the latest version. Actually, let me make sure that they didn't update it overnight. And the reason I like it so much is this column right here, average keyword competitiveness. What it does is when you find a search and you'll see a little button comes up here that says calculate, it goes out and it looks at the top 10 pages. It looks at factors like, is the keyword in the URL? Is the keyword in the title? How many links does it have according to Moz.com's Site Explorer? And how many of those are passing link juice to the ranking page? And it combines all of that into a number. And the thing I like about that is that it's objective. So it's not just me looking at the top 10 and saying, oh, I think this is good, I think this is bad, whatever it is. It just gives me an objective number that I can repeat over and over and over again. Let me close Skype here. It's making a little bit too much noise. Okay. All right. So what's the process? Basically, you're going to take a set of 3 semantically related keywords, and you're going to put them into Longtail Pro or your favorite tool, whatever it is, and that's going to pull related keywords from Google Planner. And you repeat this throughout all your semantically related topics, however many you decide to start with, and then go ahead and narrow the results from 500 to 10,000 monthly searches. And then you pull the keyword competitiveness for each of those terms. Now, notice what's not on the list that a lot of people do. And what's not on the list is the cost per click. And the reason for that is that I don't care. The way we build these sites is we're not targeting one article for one keyword. We're going to be having multiple keywords all related into one, semantically integrated, thematically correct page. And because of that, we're going to be ranking for, possibly, 10s, 20s, 50s keywords, all with the same content. And that's how we build sites that are, much more efficient with regards to content and are easier to build and faster to build than your competitors. So when you have 20 keywords all, targeting the same page, then it doesn't matter that the cost per click might be low or might be high, because when you add them all up, it's going to be a good number for you. So once we've done all that, and the keyword competition calculations, it does take a while, so just recognize that. I did one yesterday. It took me like about 3 hours. So once we've done all that, we're going to export the results into Excel, and then we're going to do some analysis and grouping. So you'll end up with an export that looks like this. And all these keywords right here, cost per click, local searches, global searches, if you search for that, advertiser competition. This is a field actually a lot of people don't understand. So what this is how competitive is it for the advertisers to buy that keyword. So this has nothing to do with competition amongst your peers that are publishing. Number of words I like to use, average keyword competitiveness, and then these additional fields over here I have added. So that's the analysis and grouping part. So if you look here, there's a column, I don't know if you can quite see, but it says SEOV. That stands for Search Engine Optimization Value. And that's a calculation that's based on the searches and the cost per click as to, what that ranking for that particular keyword would pay. And this is the AdSense calculation. So basically, a lot of different studies have been done, and if you rank number 1 for a keyword, you're probably going to get somewhere around 35% of the searches. So 100 people search for blue ski boots, and 35 of them are going to click on the first result. It might be 25, might be 45, but on average 35%. And so that's why I multiply the number of searches by 35%. And then the 5% right here is my click-through rate. So I always just kind of assume 5% of the people who land on my site are going to click on an ad. That may be higher or lower depending on your own sites and your own experience. So 5% of the people who land there are going to click. That click is worth 68% of the cost per click. And that's Google's publishing guidelines that the publisher is going to receive 68% of the value of that click, and then Google receives the rest. This is, don't take this as gospel. This is going to vary widely depending on what kind of monetization method you use. So this one is for AdSense. And even if you are using AdSense, because ads are now tailored to your history, then the ads on the website may not be quite related to the content on the page. Sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. So that cost per click is going to vary quite a bit depending on the history of that particular user. So, but it just gives us an idea, of which keywords are worth more and which keywords are worth less. Okay, then we're going to group the keywords by silo topic and subpage topic. So we're going to get into all of that in just a little bit. So just to give you a broad overview, a silo is a category of content on your website that's all going to be tightly related, and the subpages is each page in that category. So when you do all this, you end up with I like to use pivot tables in Excel. So this is the results for the one of our attendees submitted some information. So for all of these different subpages within the silo, I've got one page that has an SEO value of $1,000 with a keyword competitiveness of 32, which is on the easy side of things. Basically anything under 35 is what I search for. And then we've got another one with $1,600, a keyword competitiveness of 29. Another one worth a bit less, $236, keyword competitiveness of 27, and so on. And I'm going to show you this example of exactly how I did it later on. Okay, so once we've done all the grouping and the analysis, it's time to architect our site. And we end up with something like this. This is the graphic you saw in the beginning. So basically, let's pull out a pen here. So this is your overall site. This is your homepage. Okay, it's going to link out to all the different categories of information you have. So if you were doing the that cocktail plant site, you might have a whole category just on different types of mint, and that would be here. And then you might have a whole different category on berries. That might be here. Then you might have a whole different category on I don't know. I don't drink very much anymore, even though I used to be a bartender. Let's say root vegetables. Like you make vodka out of potatoes. So each one of those would be a different silo. And within that silo, you're going to link down from your landing page, which would be here, and it's going to have all your subpages. So if this is different mints, you're going to have, spearmint, peppermint, lemon mint, chocolate mint, whatever other kinds of mints. And each one of those is going to have its own set of keywords that is supporting that. So, when we do it this way, and we link all of these together, but we do not link, subpage 2 of one silo to subpage 2 of the other. What that does is anybody coming into the site, let's say on this page, silo 1, page 3, then what they see is tightly related content to what they landed on. They don't see, they don't land on chocolate mint and then see juniper berries. They see lavender mint, they see peppermint, they see spearmint, and so on. And then they'll have an option, connected to the tops of the other silos if they want to explore that other content. And that difference, that restricting what the searcher or what the user can access, is the key to efficient content. So this works in a couple different ways. So one is that when you have a link coming in to this page right here, then excuse me, that link's power does not get spread all over the site. It only gets spread throughout the related content. So if I have a link coming in with anchor text chocolate mint, and then it flows through to lavender mint and peppermint and spearmint and all that, all of those pages are still related, at least 1 degree to the chocolate mint link. And that cohesion increases the linking power. Also, having fewer pages that it goes to increases the linking power. Now, on top of that, it just makes sense for the user to have that kind of information. So what a lot of people don't realize is that if we go back to Amazon, let's turn off the pen here. If we go back to Amazon, Amazon is a siloed website. So if I look back here, let's clear the drawings. If I look back here, I mean, yes, I have links to other bestsellers, which is related. Yes, I have, most wished for within this category, that's related. But if we look at the menu structure, we have, the top levels here, but then within related content, we have the things that are tightly related. So Amazon is the quintessential example of a siloed website because you don't have links to, auto parts, down here. That just wouldn't make any sense. So we are optimizing for the search engines as well as improving user experience, which will keep people, on your site longer, interacting more, all of which is going to help you out over the long term. Okay, so that is the basic idea. And, for the early registrants for the webinar, I asked for, a niche, and because I'm giving away free keyword research here. So somebody, one of my friends, Gabriel, he submitted fashion. He wants to build something in the fashion world. So I went to Amazon and I selected health, fitness, and dieting, which it turns out that's where fashion is. I had to search around a bit to find it. And then under that, we have beauty, grooming, and style. And then within that, we have these different books. These are all the best sellers here. And I just did this yesterday, so this should be pretty current. And I saw this one, is How to Get Dressed, a costume designer's, secret guides to, looking your best. And, it's selling really well. It's got lots of positive reviews. And apparently this is Alison Freer's first book, and she's just killing it. So, it's ranked number 5,000 or so on all of Amazon books. So she's probably selling a couple hundred or, thousands a day. So she's doing all right. And, I went and I looked through things a bit, and basically it was all about, how to style your hair for your face, what sunglasses are good for you, what jewelry is good for you, and all this kind of thing, just like piece by piece. And she just broke it down of like, from starting at your head and traveling down your body, what's the best way to accentuate yourself and flatter yourself. So these were some of the things that I came up with searches to consider for my top 10 searches: hairstyle for your face, sunglasses, jewelry, necklines, clothes, handbag, how to look better based on, in photos based on your body type. I ended up doing the hairstyle search for this particular silo example. So I went through and I did a top 10 ways to make clothes fit better, and I went through all that, and I counted up all these different things, and the X's that you see here, that is how many times this kind of phrase appeared in each of these top 10 lists. So I went to Lifehacker, Cosmo, and the Dr. Oz show had something, Wisebread. So I found out that, hair is one of the most talked about things as far as looking better. Now, I'm a guy, I haven't gotten a haircut in, I don't know, 5 months. I'm not an expert in this area, but by doing the semantic research and then the keyword research, I don't have to be. I can find all the information that I need. So some of the searches that I did in the within the keyword research portion was styles for round faces, square faces, long faces, oval faces, blunt cut, bob cut, hairstyles for thin hair. Just so you know, I had no idea what a blunt cut was. I had heard of a bob, but that's about the extent of my knowledge there. And I went through. I'll actually show you here. Let's see. I went through all the different keywords, did my analysis and grouping. Let's see if I can pull Longtail Pro over here. Okay, so this is what it looked like. I ended up with 6,558 keywords, and I did my competitiveness research, and I ended up with 136 keywords that were all, tightly related to, what haircuts make you look better, depending on, whether you have short, medium, long hair, or what kind of face you have. So, I grouped all those together into, we had short hairstyles for fine hair, medium length hairstyles, long hairstyles. Then we had some for round faces, for thin hair, long faces, and thick hair. So the thing to really notice is that, that didn't quite work. Let's try here. So under short wavy hairstyles, which is one of the keywords, we've got the SEO values $1,600. The average competitiveness is 29, which is low, and there's 26 keywords related to this topic. So, with 26 different keywords, I know exactly how to lay out an article with all different kinds of headings and target this page, to create a solid post that will give lots of value to the user and cover all these different kinds of keywords. So we're shooting multiple birds with one shot here. And when you go into your when you go into your linking strategy, we know that we have 26 different terms that we can start off with, and then there's all different variations based on that. Then for the fine hair, we had the value of $1,000, 9 different keywords. For medium, it was $780 with 13 keywords. Long hairstyles, $719 with 9 keywords. Round faces, $436, 18 keywords. Hairstyles for thin hair, $426 with 7 keywords. Long faces, $246, 10 words. And thick hair at $236 and 3 keywords. Now this is all in one silo. So, if I have a page on each one of these, and then I have multiple silos, so one here on hair, one on, I don't know, jewelry, one on, different types of tops or dresses, one on pants, one on shoes, you can see how this gets to be a pretty serious site with thousands, potentially, keywords that will all be related and integrated in a way that makes sense both to the search engines and to the users. So I'm going to be sending these results over to, to Gabriel for being our little guinea pig here. And the result is that we have a semantically integrated site plan that creates deep content targeting low competition markets. All of those keywords had a keyword competitiveness of less than 35, and with multiple supporting keywords and a ready-made diverse link building plan. So, oops. Basically, when we've done this search process of finding the niche, doing the semantic relations to find out what other types of things are being talked about in that market, doing the keyword research on all those different kinds of information, grouping them all together into a silo and into subpages, and then architecting out the whole thing, we know exactly how to build the site. We know exactly how to lay out the articles, how to hire, or what to tell our writers if you're not going to write it yourself, which I never do, and then how to lay it out. Furthermore, something I didn't even mention here is that as this site evolves, you want to keep adding content. So a lot of people are stuck, oh, what do I write about? Well, you have 26 different keywords from this one particular page. You can, if you want to, you can continue to break out that content into more and more specific things underneath those pages. So, you have a virtually endless supply of content ideas for developing your site. But you can get all this done in, a day. And typically I like to start out my sites with either 3 to 5 silos, so 3 to 5 semantically related niches, and then between 3 to 5 pages under each one of those. So we're talking about somewhere between 10 and 30 articles to have written, but the plan is already done. So I go to my writers and I say, hey, I want articles on this, this, and this, and this. I want this article to target these 3 keywords. I want to have, the section headers saying this, that, and the other, and it's really easy. So by doing this and repeating the process, you can build out this portfolio really quickly and easily, while your competitor is just still figuring out how to write 26 different articles based on this one thing. Not knowing that you can target the same content, the same keywords, but with just one article. So that is the major advantage to doing it this way. And so, that's the basic story. The resources here, I will tell you, just for full disclosure purposes, that this link, to the bestsellers and this link to Longtail Pro, those are affiliate links. So, if you buy them or whatever, I do get a small commission, very small. Longtail Pro does have a free trial. I think it's 10 days now. And then this Excel template if you're not very good with Excel and you want to go back to, let's see if we can go back to that page, and you want to do all the calculations and the pivot table, if you want to do this, and you want to add these columns, I created a template for you. So that's just a quick and easy download, and I'll go ahead and paste these into the chat box. So that is the way, it's a 5-step method to create semantically integrated niche sites in literally a day. Like I said, doing the keyword competitiveness does take a little while. So part of the things is that you're pulling from Google. So the Google will tend to ban you after a while if you do it too aggressively. So I typically do 3, pause for 30 seconds, do another 3 or 5 or whatever it is. And that way you can not hammer the Google server so bad. One thing, Spencer Hawes, who is the developer of Longtail Pro, I've asked him about his proxy support, and he says, a lot of people have asked for it, and maybe in the next version, but not in version 3, which was just released about a month ago. So, but Spencer's a good guy. He runs nichepursuits.com, which is all about building niche businesses and websites. So that is the basic idea, and I'm going to stick around for a few minutes if anybody has any questions. But yeah, that's about it. The key is this, building one of those, and if you can do that and you can do it in a way that makes sense, targets multiple keywords, and gets loads of traffic, then that's all you have to do. So I want to say thanks for coming by, and this session is recorded, like I said at the beginning. So I'm going to be uploading it to YouTube and emailing you a link if you dropped out or there are any kind of technical problems. But that is about it. Again, this is Neil from Semantic Keyword Research. Oh, we got one question here. Do I do one-on-one sessions? And this is my buddy Chuck. So Chuck, for you, of course. Let's see. But as far as one-on-one sessions, I don't have anything like that structured. I don't have anything like that structured at the moment as far as like coaching or anything. If there's interest, I'd certainly consider it. Any other questions out there? Will the slide deck be available? I can make it available as part of a download from the replay. And let's see, how did I get into this? Well, kind of a long story. I was building niche sites, trying to anyway. I was doing kind of a crap job, to be honest. And then I got into buying sites. Buying sites is great. I love buying established sites. I'll still do it today. But the problem is that it's expensive. So I usually use the Empire Flippers brokerage. Justin and Joe there are great guys. They do a lot of the due diligence to make sure you're not getting scammed. It's not 100%, but still, a good bit. So I was buying these sites for 20 times their revenue. Some of them crashed and burned afterwards through various updates. I had one site that was based on a misspelling of a brand name, and then Google rolled out their automatic, suggest, like, did you mean XYZ? And so that site just got annihilated. But most of the sites I bought have done reasonably well. And then I was adding content to these sites, but it's a grind, and trying to figure out new things to add. So what I did was I started looking at the sites I already had that were performing well, and I was looking at other SEO resources, and I found Bruce Clay's stuff. He was kind of the originator of silo architecture, and just started applying that to niche sites. So, I mean, yeah, you can use this. I mean, Amazon uses this, but I'm not building Amazon.com. I just want to build, tightly targeted sites that will, basically pay me to create them. So I started that evolution over probably about 3 years now that I've been doing this, and refining the process as I go. I still refine it. Today, talking with other people who are in this kind of market. So that's how I got into it. That's how I continue to learn and evolve. And with every Google change and with every time I dive deep into my analytics, I find out more and more. So I've got one site that has it's about essential oils. I'm giving away my niches here, but so it's all about the different types of oils that people buy for various purposes, whether it's perfume or aromatherapy or whatever. And that site is ranking for people who search for Bath and Body Works. Now it's on page 2, but a lot of people search for Bath and Body Works, and that is nowhere in any of my content. But because of the way my site is structured, and the content I include a lot of videos on this particular thing. I guess some of them have Bath and Body Works in them. And so I'm able to rank for that without targeting it because of, the relations that are built in. So, the any link juice that is created is preserved and concentrated as much as possible in a way that makes sense. So that is, let's see, when I close this window, those links will disappear. We're going to find them later. We'll email them to everyone. Okay, so the question is if I'll email all these links out. And yeah, I will email these links as part of the message with the replay and everything. And I'll go ahead and include the slide deck in that as well. Actually, I have no idea how big this file is. I just kind of work on my desktop. So that's kind of the story. So if there are any other questions, we're coming up on the hour here, which is a hard cutoff with GoToWebinar here. Let's see. We've got one question from Gabriel about other stuff. Well, Gabriel, I'll send you the file that I created for you, so you don't have to worry about that. And we got another question about the semantic, about the top 10 thing. Okay, so let's go back. Let's go back up here. Okay, so the top 10 or the Amazon thing. Okay, so let's just do an example. Somebody give me a niche, any niche. Gay porn. We're not doing gay porn. Something else. How about, okay, well, you want to look at the essential oils? Okay, we'll do that. So I look for essential oils in books, right? Let's see, is this guided by relevance? Let's do aromatherapy. Okay, so I want to get rid of the actual search and just look at all aromatherapy. And we're looking at, okay, so we've got the complete book of essential oils and aromatherapy. This was actually the book that caused me to create that site. We've got essential oil natural remedies. Let's do that one. So this is, if we look at the Amazon rank, 1796 in all books, so selling a lot. It's ranking number 1 in naturopathy, number 2 in aromatherapy, number 4 in herbal remedies. So who's the author here? Althea Press. I don't know who that is. That's I think that's a publisher. So whoever wrote that or whoever's publishing is doing pretty good. So, we want to, so the Amazon method is just to look inside here. Let's use the feature that they have. When we look at the table of contents, what ails you? Congestion, headache, insomnia. Okay, so that's some starter material. And let's see, plants be thy medicine. history and blah, 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 getting started, tools and equipment, carrier oils, safety first, oil method applications. We got aromatic and topical. And then we have all these different ailments. So you could create a huge site based on this, just by targeting each one of these different problems that people have and the herbal solutions to that. And then we have the essential oils. So they've categorized it two different ways here. One is by problem, and the other is by oil. And I probably wouldn't do both on a single site, but go one or the other. That's just me, though. I always say test it and see. So okay, so we know our some starting concepts here. So let's say bad breath. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can actually see that. So we go to Google and we say, okay, essential oils for bad breath. Whatever it is, 7 best herbs for bad breath. How to cure bad breath. Bad breath. Young Living essential oils. Young Living is a brand name in the essential oils field. Banish bad breath with Young Living peppermint. Freshening breath with essential oils. So we can look at all of these. Just open them up and see what they have to say. Okay, so we got peppermint, tea tree, sage, myrrh, clove, pine needle. That sounds kind of weird, but okay, eucalyptus. This one says, let's see, natural remedies, fresheners, parsley, okay, fennel, and anise seeds, lavender, sea salt, avoid, garlic, onions, chilies. Yeah, avoid stuff that smells bad. And, oh, I think I got a problem with my audio. Can you guys still hear me? Go ahead and put a 1 in the toolbox if you can. Okay, so you can still hear me. I'm just getting some static in my headset here. Oh, you guys are hearing static also. I don't know what that's from. And there it goes. Okay. So, so we got all of those. Then we've got, okay, this is just advertising a bottle. Oh, here we go. Peppermint, wintergreen, lavender. So one of the things I want to do as I do this research is notice which things are repeated amongst these different results. So we've got peppermint on all of these, I think. And clove has been mentioned twice. Lavender has been mentioned twice. And let's see what this guy says. That's just a quick ad, basically. Peppermint again, lemon. Thyme has been mentioned twice. Lavender is 3 times. And here's a form. Oh no, that's the old one with the cocktails. So yeah, we now we know the basically what people are saying works for fixing bad breath. So you create a page, and you want to target all of these different kinds of oils, and then I'm reconsidering now actually that let's say we have a web page that has bad breath and has all these different things, kind of similar to this, and then we link out to other content based on the oil itself. So we kind of go back and forth. So that's one way to do the semantic research. So we go from the Amazon content and search for that content specifically, or if we want to go straight to Google, we would say top 10 essential oil remedies or something like that. And then okay, so we've got skincare. Let's see. Dr. Axe, I don't know if he's a real doctor. And lavender does these things: skin rashes, acne, insect bites, minor burns. Tea tree oil does athlete's foot, dermatitis and eczema, acne, cold sores, nail fungus, warts, and so on and so forth. So you can approach it either way. Also, if you know anything about the content, that will be a good insight for you, or if you know anybody who knows anything, that kind of thing, you can do some interviews and say, okay, what is the most important information for you? and you start your research that way. Then once you find those topics, you're not searching for keywords based on essential oils. You're searching keywords based on lavender oils for bad breath or whatever it is. So by taking that extra step, you're cutting out all your competition, and that is the long and short of it. Now, guys, we are coming up on the hour, and we're about to get cut off here. So I'm just going to go ahead and end the webinar. I will send out those emails with all the links and the replay and everything once that's ready. So I will see you guys on the flip side. And if you have any questions, go ahead and email me. That'll also be in the email, obviously. So I hope you had fun and learned something. And we might make this a regular thing, depending on how the reception goes. So we'll talk to you later.